What do you think is going to be with Zohran Mamdani, who recently won the mayoral primaries in New York? Check out this clip over here with Mark Levin talking about Mamdani and his policies. So we'll watch this clip together and then talk about it. But first, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Check this out.
I want to get to this issue of the Zohran Mamdani. Please stop calling him a Democrat socialist. I don't care if they call him that. I don't care if that's his party. He's a Marxist Islamist. Socialism is an economic ideology. He's bigger than that. He's a Marxist. He's not a Democrat in any respect. He's an Islamist. Everything he says, everything he supports, he's an Islamist. He's a radical extremist who preaches violence, who preaches a lot of things that are horrendous. He founded a chapter of Students for Justice in Palestine. That's a Hamas front organization. He refuses to reject the term globalized, the Intifada. Intifada is a worldwide terrorist, violent murder operation against Jews and other people in the West. He was part of the BDS movement, which is an economic movement that is intended to starve the state of Israel. He's an anti-Semite. He's a racist. He's a bigot. You name it. He's all those things that we reject. Just because he doesn't walk around without a white robe and a white hood, or just because he doesn't walk around with the sign of the Third Reich on his chest, or does a salute, doesn't mean he's not any of those things. And I'm here to tell you he's all of those things, okay? We cut to the chase here. His father, Mahmoud, he's called for the end of the state of Israel. The end of the state of Israel means the elimination of the Jews. They think they're going to go somewhere? Now, this man has refused to sign a resolution recognizing the state of Israel. He defended Yemeni-American al-Qaeda leader Anwar al-Awlaki. He excused him as being pushed into extremism by the FBI that was surveilling him. This guy was a big al-Qaeda guy, even before 9/11. He was an imam in Northern Virginia. Two of the hijackers were part of his mosque. He fled the country to Yemen after the 9/11 attack, and Obama took him out. This guy made excuses for him. What do you think of that, America? He wants free rent, free childcare, free public transportation, city-owned grocery stores, food ops. He believes in the seizure, which is force. The seizure, the means of production. No billionaires. Well, what's he going to do with them? Lock them up? He won't have any billionaires anyway. They'll all move to Florida, so who's he going to tax? He believes in replacing private property rights and the market system with a government-run system, a communal living system. Boy, that doesn't sound too new to me. I think every Marxist regime on the face of the earth has tried it. He despises the NYPD. He says he's not going to allow them to assist ICE. He wanted to defund them. Now he pretends he doesn't, but he does. We know who he is. He wants to replace police with mental health professionals. Well, maybe you ought to visit one of them. He's justified the burning of Minnesota. He said it has to happen in 2020. He believes black and brown solidarity, I quote, will overcome white supremacy. I told you he's a racist. He's a bigot. Increase property taxes in, quote, richer and whiter neighborhoods. Well, other than the fact that that's unconstitutional, taxing based on race, maybe he's missed the last 100 years or so. Freeze rents for multiple years at a time. $30 an hour minimum wage. Oh, that's brilliant. Big tax hikes on businesses, small, large, all kinds of businesses. So the guy is a Marxist Islamist. That's what he is. Now, I want to remind Americans about capitalism and freedom and constitutionalism. What's that delivered? Because our media doesn't do it. All we have are these clowns, these fools. Guy's 33 years old. He hasn't accomplished a damn thing in his life. He's never run a fryer at a McDonald's, which is a good job. He's never had one. So they push ideology. That's all they're about. Not world experience, not knowledge, none of that stuff. And this is a radical kook. This is a bad dude. I want to remind you, and I'm going to my new book, On Power, by the way, and we will talk about this in the weeks ahead because I think it's a powerful book. It's very important for our time. And I write in here, economist George Reisman, in his 1996 book, Capitalism, makes an overwhelming case for the universal benefits of capitalism. We Americans don't make the case for our country, our economic system, our governing system, our history. Instead, we're constantly defending ourselves and responding to these reprobates. How about we make the case for the greatest country on the face of the earth, the greatest economic system on the face of the earth? Let me start. Let's try it this way. Industrial civilization has radically increased life expectancy. In the 20th century in the United States, it has increased life expectancy from about 46 years in 1900 to the present 75 years, even more than that now. This was written 10 years ago by the professor. The enormous combination of industrial civilization to human life is further illustrated by the fact that the average newborn American child has a greater chance of living to the age of 65 than the average newborn child of a non-industrial society has of living to the age of 5. The marvelous results have come about because of an ever-increasing supply of food, clothing, shelter, medical care, and all the conveniences of life, the progressive reduction in human fatigue and exhaustion. All of this has taken place on a foundation of actual science, technology, capitalism, which have made possible the continuous development and introduction of new and improved products and more efficient methods of production. Yes, which is why the communist regimes are always trying to steal our technology, because they can't do it on their own. And by the way, I watch this guy walk around. He's in a car. He's got a nice suit. Where the hell does he think that comes from? Capitalism. Let's go on. Famine has been ended because industrial civilization, he means in industrialized countries, because industrial civilization has produced the greatest abundance and variety of food in human history, the history of the world, and has created the storage and transportation systems required to bring it to everyone. This same industrial civilization has produced the greatest abundance of clothing and shoes and housing in the history of the world. And while some people in the industrialized countries may be hungry and homeless, it is certain that no one in the industrialized countries needs to be hungry or homeless. Industrialized civilization has also produced the iron and steel pipe, the chemical purification and pumping systems, and the boilers that enable everyone to have instant access to safe drinking water, hot or cold, every minute of the day. It's produced the sewage systems and the automobiles that have removed filth from human and animal waste from the streets of cities and towns. It has produced vaccines and anesthesias. Well, you can even fly through the air at 600 miles per hour, 40,000 feet up, watching movies and sipping martinis in air-conditioned comfort as they do so. In the United States, most people can have all this, and spacious homes or apartments, carpeted and fully furnished, with indoor plumbing, central heating, air conditioning, refrigerators, freezers, gas and electric stoves. And people have all this, as well as long life and good health, as a result of working 40 hours a week. Never before in human history. Indeed, as I write, in the United States, a walk through a neighborhood supermarket, itself a word unheard of less than a century ago, a neighborhood supermarket, makes available to anyone and everyone more abundance and choices of food, beverages, over-the-counter pharmaceutical products, cleaning products, and toiletries, among other things, from every corner of the country and the planet, packaged to ensure their freshness and safety than at any time in human existence. An assembly line worker, plumber, electrician, bus driver, and janitor have more material goods at their fingertips than Caesar, King George III, and Stalin ever did or could have imagined. Marxism is incompatible with limited government and representative government and shared power. It's about the centralized coercive control to re-engineer society, to rejigger humanity. Marx wrote about the invidious nature of individual liberty. He mocked our Declaration of Independence. The Islamists, basically the fundamentalists, they're throwbacks to the 7th century. They reject the Enlightenment. They reject the West. Read what their scholars say. So in this, the Marxists and the Islamists are together. They're about coercion. They're about control. They're about centralization. They don't want debates and things of this nature. So you have this combination of Marxism and Islamism. If you read Stalin's 1936 Constitution, it sounds like this guy's campaign promises. Stalin was a mass murderer. Yet in 1936, he puts out this constitution about equality and all these rights and a free press, and they're going to give printing presses to organizations, they're going to have unions. He was a liar. He didn't do any of these things. This guy's a liar. He's going to try and do these things. He won't accomplish them, but he will destroy the city in the meantime because it will depopulate. People who work hard and have homes, people who work hard and have even small businesses, a pizzeria, a deli, or big businesses, billionaires who obviously create things and invest capital. You don't have a skyline because of poor people. You have a skyline because of wealthy people. And those wealthy people, they're able to sell condominiums and rent apartments and create jobs. You need people who know what to do with steel and aluminum and cement. All these jobs, all these blue-collar jobs, all the benefits, the pensions, they all go away. People in that respect, like liberty, is like water. People will go where they have to go to accomplish what they want to accomplish and live the way they want to live. New York City will be depopulated, the state will be depopulated. So who's left to tax? The average person's going to be taxed. They're going to be impoverished. They won't have jobs. It's about time that we, constitutional conservatives, defend our belief system rather than simply condemn the other one, that we compare and contrast. You know what you lose when these types of people are elected? Your liberty. You know what you lose? The nuclear family. This wokeism is a new form of communism. It didn't just create itself. As I wrote in American Marxism, it's an Americanized, customized, tailorized form of Marxism to destroy the nuclear family. Why destroy the nuclear family? Because Marx, their hero, said, you must destroy the nuclear family. Why? Every social construct must be destroyed. The nuclear family, business communities, private property, all of it must be destroyed so we can find our paradise. Meanwhile, these people get rich, they get powerful, they rule with an iron fist. And so that is what's going on. That's what's at stake in this election in New York. And let me say something to the current mayor in New York, to Cuomo, and to my friend Curtis Sliwa. Cuomo, you have more baggage than JFK Airport. And you ran a lousy campaign in the Democrat primary. What makes you think you could win anything? And Mayor, you've been weak, you've been incompetent, and you're running very poorly. Curtis Sliwa, you're a dear friend. You're a Republican. So Republicans are not appreciated necessarily in New York, although Giuliani was and Bloomberg was before he made 4 switches to different parties and so forth. You 3 guys better get together. And you better figure out who runs against this guy. Or he will win by a plurality, not a majority, and it will be your fault. I hate to be blunt, but everything's at stake right now. Everything. This guy is a Marxist Islamist. Enough of this democratic socialism claptrap.
So aside from the things that Mark Levin mentions over here about Mamdani's policies, there are some that actually are zeroed in on in the Jewish community, that the Jewish community feels particularly uneasy with when it comes to Mamdani. First of all, Mamdani is an outspoken supporter of things like BDS, the Boycott, Divestment, and Sanctions movement, which is really discriminatory against Jews. BDS singles out Israel, singles out the Jewish state while ignoring all sorts of human rights violations around the world. In fact, its founder, the founder of the BDS movement, admitted that the goal of the BDS movement is for the dismantling of Israel and not for a peaceful coexistence in the region. Mamdani has also shown opposition for Israel as a Jewish state. He says that the formation of the state of Israel actually is a form of colonialism, which is something that ignores Jewish people's indigenous connection with the land of Israel for thousands of years. Mamdani has also showed silence or downplaying of Jewish suffering. Mamdani has been criticized for remaining silent or evasive on different questions that come to anti-Semitic violence. He's as Mark Levin mentioned over here, he refuses condemn phrases like globalize the intifada. But selective empathy that he shows undermines moral credibility. Anytime a person shows only selective morality, selective empathy, that undermines their entire credibility as a moral voice. A true advocate for justice can condemn anti-Semitism, hatred, or whatnot unequivocally, not only when it's politically expedient for the person. Also, he has alliances with radical anti-Israel groups. He remains in close ties with groups that glorify terrorism, against Jews in Israel, such as those that praise Hamas and Hezbollah. Legitimate criticism of Israel is something that is okay. Legitimate criticism of Israeli policy is one thing, but partnering with groups that support violence, crosses the line into extremism. And so one thing that we need, and we need to understand, is that moral clarity and economic pragmatism are not mutually exclusive. We need to demand both from our political leaders. And so a lot of people I know in New York are a little bit on edge about the possibility of him becoming the mayor of New York City. But in Florida, where I am, a lot of people are anticipating another great wave of people moving down. And so we will see what happens. It is something to be aware of, and it is something that people should organize together to keep New York City a functioning, good city. It's probably the most important city in America. And so we need to, even if it doesn't affect you directly in the place that you live, it's important that we as Americans, in any way that we can, show support for American values, which in many ways Zohran Mamdani's policies and outlooks are not in support of. If you like this content overall, hit that subscribe button over there in the corner. We'd love to stay in touch. Take care.